Hello, I'm Coercer, and we will be watching the second matchup in round 1 from ArtifactCup 24. These games will be played between B8factor and BBI, the April Fool. So let's just load into the game. Now, Agent B8factor is a newcomer to our community. Relatively new, and he has improved quite steadily over the past weeks. BBI, the April Fool, well, no one in the community really knows who that was, but it seems that was just an April Fool's prank. So we'll be watching this from Agent B8factor's view. He spawned down in the south, let's reveal all, and in the north is BBI the April Fool in the BBI studio colors, playing as the Coalition. Agent B8factor is playing as the Knef. Now we haven't really watched any Knef gameplay here on my channel. The Knef are a bit different than the Galcian. Their carrier has a missile system, subsystem, which means that they can fire basically dumbfire missiles periodically, and depending on how much power they put into this system, the more missiles they can store and the more missiles they can launch. So Agent B8factor is fully saturated on his main resource point. The production cruiser has already moved to the second rack, and he is producing another production cruiser. The base runners are going to meet at the middle artifact, and BBI, the April Fool, is pretty much just mining from his main. There we go. Let's look at the production tab. We have a blast drone on the field, and these blast drones are also unique to the Knef. They're tiny little drones which explode if they meet something. If they get too close to something, to an enemy unit, they explode, or you can detonate them with a hotkey and they will blow up. Now, hopefully this blast drone will move in to the resource line of BBI the April Fool, so we can see the destructive potential of these little guys. B8factor now has 2 production cruisers on the field, and it seems he is basically going for a 2 production cruiser aggression build. April Fool has grabbed an artifact. B8factor should do the same, but I think he's a bit involved in his production cruiser routing and making sure the blast drones are safe, or rather that they are not spotted too quickly. The blast drones are moving in. Now the thing to keep in mind is if they get too close to an enemy unit, they will explode on their own, so he has to be careful how he moves them into the... there we go. Detonated right on the resource line and took out 4 salvagers. That should prove quite crippling to BBI, the April Fool. That was a very well executed blast drone attack. BBI has 2 AVs on the field, and perhaps he's looking to get some revenge for his lost salvagers. If he can move them or micro them once he gets to the Kharak carrier, he can do quite some damage to the salvagers, since the Kharak carrier guns are not as potent as the stock Galcian carrier. There are assault railguns now being built by B8factor from his production cruisers, and this aggression will keep BBI focused on the action at home. AAVs have moved in. Surprisingly enough, this AAV is still alive. Probably because B8factor is busy managing this fight over here, so he doesn't lose those production cruisers and that assault railgun. Let's see if he'll launch any missiles from his KNF carrier. He's just using the close combat weaponry, which is good enough, but this AV could have died much sooner. There we go, and it's down. Let's look at what's going on over here. So the two production cruisers are trucking about, and the assault railguns are dealing damage to the logistics module, which will also hamper any kind of rebuilding efforts from the April Fool. Salvagers are being picked off, and this looks very much like a loss for BBI, the April Fool. Even with that railgun on the field, which was taken out as soon as I spotted it, he's going to have a very hard time coming back from this. The carrier might just defend this long enough to get some salvagers back up, but if oh no, never mind, blast drones are incoming, and they missed the one salvager that was there, but the assault railgun takes care of business. Now B8factor is just mining from his one resource location, which might be a mistake because there is nothing on the field that could threaten any of his expansions. And April Fool could try and move his resource operation here behind the dune, so the assault railguns and potential heavy railguns from Agent B8factor can't easily shoot at his carrier and at the resource location. But it seems that Agent B8factor is content with just building up his forces and then going in for the kill. In the meantime, BBI the April Fool has secured another artifact, so we have 2 versus 1 artifact captures. Base runner will be taken out by this assault railgun eventually, but this looks very much like a already decided game at this point. Let's see if the April Fool can maneuver his carrier close enough. He can take out a couple of these assault railguns. He has rebuilt his salvagers, and we should see some units coming out of him soon. There we go, some light attack vehicle. The base runner has been eliminated, so that should stop the April Fool from capturing any more artifacts for the time being. But this looks very bad for the April Fool. This many assault railguns will just destroy any kind of light units and salvagers. And there's now a heavy railgun constructed, and this will just help the assault railguns deal more damage because they have the Sunder ability, which will reduce the armor on the carrier if the heavy railgun will of course shoot at the carrier and not the salvagers. which would of course be the better thing to do. Just use the heavy railguns from afar to sunder the carrier and use the assault railguns to deal damage to the carrier and take it down. But Agent B8factor is playing it safe. He's trying to destroy all the salvagers, so he just has to deal with the carrier. Now, the April Fool is doing quite a good job considering he has no other units aside from a couple of LVs and his carrier. He's taking out assault railguns, he's taking out he took out both of the heavy railguns, and since the coalition carrier has quite a bit of armor. The assault guns won't deal that much damage to him, unless of course there is an overwhelming number of them on the field, which kind of is the case at the moment. He is rebuilding salvagers again, but at this point B8factor has such an army advantage, and there we go. BBI the April Fool has surrendered, and that was a pretty decisive win for Agent B8factor. Let's take a look at the next game.